Verses 13 to 22. They must keep the Feast of Tabernacles, v. 13:15. Here is no repetition of the law concerning the sacrifices that were to be offered in great abundance at this feast, which we had at large, number 29:12, etc., because the care of these belonged to the priests and Levites, who had not so much need of a repetition as the people had, and because the spiritual part of the service, which consisted in holy joy, was most pleasing to God, and was to be the perpetual duty of a gospel conversation, of which this feast was typical. Observe what stress is laid upon it here: thou shalt rejoice in thy feast, v. 14, and, because the Lord shall bless thee, thou shalt surely rejoice, v. 15. It is the will of God that his people should be a cheerful people. If those that were under the law must rejoice before God, much more must we that are under the grace of the gospel, which makes it our duty, not only as here to rejoice in our feasts, but to rejoice evermore, to rejoice in the Lord always. When we rejoice in God ourselves, we should do what we can to assist others also to rejoice in Him, by comforting the mourners and supplying the necessitous, that even the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow may rejoice with us. See Job 29:13. 3. We must rejoice in God, not only because of what we have received and are receiving from Him daily, but because of what He has promised, and we expect to receive yet further from Him, because He shall bless thee, therefore thou shalt rejoice. Those that make God their joy may rejoice in hope, for He is faithful that has promised. The laws concerning the 3 solemn feasts are summed up, v. 16, 17, as often before, ex 23:16, 17, 34:23. The general commands concerning them are: that all the males must then make their personal appearance before God, that by their frequent meeting to worship God, at the same place, and by the same rule, they might be kept faithful and constant to that holy religion which was established among them. That none must appear before God empty, but every man must bring some offering or other, in token of a dependence upon God and gratitude to Him. And God was not unreasonable in His demands: let every man but give as he was able, and no more was expected. The same is still the rule of charity, 1 Cor 16:2. Those that give to their power shall be accepted, but those that give beyond their power are accounted worthy of double honor, 2 Cor 8:3, as the poor widow that gave all she had, Lu 21:4. Care taken for the due administration of justice among them, that controversies might be determined, matters in variance adjusted, the injured redressed, and the injurious punished. While they were encamped in the wilderness, they had judges and officers according to their numbers, rulers of thousands and hundreds, ex 17:25. When they came to Canaan, they must have them according to their towns and cities, in all their gates, for the courts of judgment sat in the gates. Here is a commission given to these inferior magistrates, judges to try and pass sentence, and officers to execute their sentences: shalt thou make thee. However the persons were pitched upon, whether by the nomination of their sovereign or by the election of the people, the power were ordained of God, Rom 13:1. And it was a great mercy to the people thus to have justice brought to their doors, that it might be more expeditious and less expensive, a blessing which we of this nation ought to be very thankful for. Pursuant to this law, besides the great Sanhedrim that sat at the sanctuary, consisting of 70 elders and a president, there was in the larger cities, such as had in them above 120 families, a court of 23 judges, in the smaller cities a court of 3 judges. See this law revived by Jehoshaphat, 2 Chr 19:5, 8. Here is a command given to these magistrates to do justice in the execution of the trust reposed in them. Better not judge at all than not judge with just judgment, according to the direction of the law and the evidence of the fact. The judges are here cautioned not to do wrong to any, v. 19, nor to take any gifts, which would tempt them to do wrong. This law had been given before, ex 23:8. They are charged to do justice to all, that which is altogether just shalt thou follow, v. 20. Adhere to the principles of justice, act by the rules of justice, countenance the demands of justice, imitate the patterns of justice, and pursue with resolution that which appears to be just. Justice, justice, shalt thou follow. This is that which the magistrate is to have in his eye, on this he must be intent, and to this all personal regards must be sacrificed, to do right to all and wrong to none. Care taken for the preventing of all conformity to the idolatrous customs of the heathen, v. 21:22. They must not only not join with the idolaters in their worships, not visit their groves, nor bow before the images which they had set up, but they must not plant a grove, nor so much as a tree, near God's altar, lest they should make it look like the altars of the false gods. They made groves the places of their worship, either to make it secret, but that which is true and good desires the light rather, or to make it solemn, but the worship of the true God has enough in itself to make it so, and needs not the advantage of such a circumstance. They must not set up any image, statue, or pillar, to the honor of God, for it is a thing which the Lord hates. Nothing belies or reproaches him more, or tends more to corrupt and debauch the minds of men, than representing and worshipping by an image that God, who is an infinite and eternal Spirit,